he notioned with his toe
No.
for her to put the plate of biscuits on the floor.
No.
And she did. And then she crept out backwards. And there's like 10 bodies in there. And we're all so high. And I just remember thinking, that is disgusting behaviour. However, whilst I was thinking, this is disgusting behaviour and you never treat your mum like that and what a nice mum and I really want one of those chocolate biscuits, I was also thinking, doesn't matter because I'm about to die. And I literally lay on this boy's bed and I thought, goodbye world. Goodbye mum and dad. Goodbye everybody. They're going to wonder why I'm in this boy's bedroom, but I'm a virgin and I'm going to die a virgin. But...
Welcome to Crave the Rave, a naughty podcast for old school ravers who need a fix of the rave. I'm Lady Bizarre.
And I'm Jess the Mess. On each episode, we'll be reminiscing over hilarious, embarrassing and downright mental stories from our raver days.
Think trippy tales, fezzy fails and stories from the sesh.
We've seen, heard and done it all. And we bet you have too.
So join us for a trip down memory lane.
Hello everybody, welcome to Crave the Rave. I'm not going to say it's Jess. And the reason why I'm not going to is because we had some feedback recently that we introduce ourselves too many times. So, here's a game for you all. Whose voice is this?
Oh my God. That's a really tough one.
I actually thought that was going to go so much better than it did. Sorry about that. I forgot that I just introduced myself. Anyway, sorry, that wasn't what I was expecting. But anyway, it is Crave the Rave.
What about now? What about now?
What about now?
To me, we sound completely different, but I've done a bit of a poll.
That's right, Jessie.
Oh, is it?
I'm joking. Sorry, go on, carry on, Lara.
You've mega thrown me off. What was I saying?
You did a bit of a poll.
Oh, yeah. I did a bit of a poll of people, even people that know me, and then also I asked a couple of people that don't really know us, and they all said that sometimes they were confused about which one of us it was, but then sometimes, like, Jessie would say Jessie, would say something like...
Well, obviously me.
No, I know, but I'm saying it, like, jokingly because I'm now talking, and I'm now thinking we should probably clarify actually who each... person is. It's Lara. Hi.
No, I'm sorry. We're not going. No. We're not going to be like. So, hey, Jessie here. So what
Every
do you
time.
think of dancing with no shoes on, Lara? And then you can say, hey, Jessie, Lara here. Every time.
That was what my friends said. That were like sometimes like Jessie would say something that was like, oh right, it must be Jessie because she's talking about being a mum, baby D or whatever.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just thinking, oh well. If people don't know if it's you, they don't know it's you. But the long-term listeners will know. The OGs will know.
Jessie's the one that's nasal. Although I sound quite nasal right now, actually.
You sound fucking stoned, mate. The one that sounds stoned is Lara. You talk a lot slower than me, I think.
That kind of goes in line with what somebody else said to me, actually. They said, oh, I know it's Lara because you're the one that doesn't remember anything.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, people don't need us to say, hey, Lara, hey, Jess, every time we talk. They'll just know that the funny, witty, quick talker is me and the slow one that forgets everything is you.
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, bitch. If that was the case, right, if I was actually stoned, I'm just, like, thinking now, like, how unproductive this podcast would be. The amount of, like, editing that we would need to do.
The amount of that would need to be taken out would be, it would take days.
Oh my God. Like, I know I already forget, like, stories. You have a better memory overall, but what happens to me if I'm stoned is I'm just constantly like, wait, what was I saying? Wait, but what was I saying? But if we were trying to record an episode of this and I was stoned, it would not be good.
Please don't come to work stoned. It wouldn't be fun for me. You not remembering anything when you're stoned reminds me of the time when the landlord came round in Brixton.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this?
Yes, of course.
So it was the Easter bank holiday and we had had the sessions of all sessions. We'd started on the Thursday. I met Ashley that night.
Oh, yeah.
And It was now like the Saturday or the Sunday, but we'd been out the night before and we hadn't been to bed. And our landlord messaged the group saying that he wanted to come round. I think because the neighbours had been complaining about the noise.
Okay.
But he made out that he wanted to drop off some Easter eggs. So he messaged all the girls, there's 4 of us, and said, can I come over? I'd like to see you drop off some Easter eggs. We all messaged back. I said I was in France with my family. Lucy was in France with her family. And everyone said that they weren't about and so sorry he couldn't come over. We're in the living room. You had made a toilet out of a mop bucket.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because you couldn't be bothered. We didn't have a downstairs toilet and we lived in a Victorian house with a lot of stairs and you couldn't be bothered to go up the stairs. And plus you need a wee every 2 seconds when you're getting on it.
We didn't get to discuss whether we were going to disclose that information and you've just gone ahead and just exposed me.
It needs to be told. You were using the mop bucket as a piss collector.
Oh my God.
To be fair, not much piss came out. I was all right with it until I saw it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Anyway, it was the pile of tissues around it that was
Oh my God. You're literally...
Sorry.
Stop.
But that's just how disgusting. Anyway, that's how rank this situation was.
It was
Can
I just say it was all girls? It was all best mates. There was about 6 of us girls in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes anything at all, but...
Doesn't change anything. It's still revolting.
I was, like, okay, well, now you've said it, I may as well explain my side of it, which doesn't improve anything. But, so I was kind of, like, involved in the conversation, but just constantly sat on it because that was easier than having to go for toilet stops. I was just, that became my new seat. And I was sat with my little face just kind of rested on the sofa, just sat on the mop bucket.
Don't try and make it sound cute. What I should also then, as you can imagine, 6 of us have carried on. I think there were people there earlier that had left. Living room's an absolute state. Coffee tables full of shit, literally, like everything you can imagine. Cans, bottles, ash.
Fag butts.
The room is full of smoke because whilst Lara's on that revolting bucket, she's also got a joint in her hands and her mouth. And so the room's full of smoke and it's the middle of the day and ding dong, the doorbell goes. We all look around. What the fuck? Who the hell could that be? We knew who that would be. Our fucking landlord. So ding dong. I have never jumped up and thrown myself anywhere as fast in my whole life. I threw myself behind the sofa. So it was like a bay window. Curtains were closed, thank God. And then the bay window, where it was like an armchair in front of the bay window, and I went in between the bay window and the armchair.
Yes.
I absolutely shut myself. And then we were like, okay, everyone be quiet, because he can't come in because he hasn't got permission to come in and he's not allowed to.
Yeah, as long as we're just quiet.
Yeah, as long as we're quiet, he'll go away.
He'll go away.
We're literally quiet as anything. We're shitting ourselves and he's letting himself in.
We hear the door open.
He's letting himself in with the key. Yeah, the door is opening. Oh my God. If he had seen me down that sofa. Anyway, so then Lara gets up. She's in her fluffy pink dressing gown and you were so fucking stoned. And you got out. Thank God you did. And you opened the door and you went into the hallway. And then, can you remember what happened from there?
Oh my God, just about. So basically, I think I was where my throne was. My cute little throne was. It was maybe closest to the door. And I was like, we have to deal with this situation because the last thing we can have is him coming into this room. And as much as, I mean, the fact that the whole house was smoky is one thing, right? But piss bucket, whole party room, people hiding behind the sofa, beer cans everywhere, cigarette butts. It's like, he cannot enter this space. Like, it cannot happen. And as much as I am fucking useless when I'm stoned, if something needs to happen or there's an emergency, I can snap out of it.
But you didn't snap out of it. You dealt with it.
Okay. I jumped, let's say jumped to action. I can jump to action, right? Yeah, I wouldn't say I necessarily snapped out of it, but I did what I could with what I had, which was not much. And I jumped up, I met him in the corridor and I was like, oh my God, hi. Happy Easter. And he's holding a bag of Easter eggs for us, okay? So I usher him, obviously, as fast as I can away from the front room, which is closest to the front door. So I usher him into the kitchen and I'm chatting to him and I don't even know what the fuck he's saying to me, but he's showing me these Easter eggs. and he's talking to me, and I just remember like completely spacing out when he's talking to me, and he's asking me a question.
Wasn't he asking you things like, what are you doing for Easter?
Yeah, he was asking me just like random shit about my family and what I'm doing and like, you know, where everyone is as well. Like, oh, so it sounds like Jesse's away with her family. That sounds nice. Where have they gone? And I'm just like blank face looking at him, so stoned. Haven't been to bed yet. It's now the afternoon. I was so scared that he was gonna enter the room. But anyway, eventually he leaves.
You said that he put the Easter eggs down next to some empty baggies.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you said the kitchen was trashed as well.
Oh.
And you said that there was all empty baggies, and he lined up the Easter eggs on the side next to the empty baggies.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was. I mean, it must have been obvious.
It was definitely obvious, but well done. You took one for the team, and I'll never forget that. Thank you, Lara.
Oh my God. It was horrible. It was like getting caught by the police. You know, when you're shaking, you just got to try and hold it together.
I think it's worse. I would have been able to deal with the police better. So what? So what? I'm hiding behind the sofa. What are you going to do about it?
That depends what you've done, but yeah. But what the fuck? Like, letting himself in, that is not
he was a creep.
Okay. Yeah.
No, he was a massive creep, and we lived in fear of him. So, we got away with it, you sucker.
Yeah, I don't think he listens to the pod.
Well, I'm just so glad that you dealt with that and not me, because when I'm stoned, it's horrendous. When we moved into that house, we had no money, and I thought, all right, what we'll do, instead of going out, I'll just start smoking weed, because Lara's great with it. Lara looks like she's having fun. And I thought, I haven't smoked it for years. And that's because I literally used to lose my mind on it when I was younger. I thought, I'm a grown-up now. I can definitely smoke it, even though I've gone probably like 10 years without smoking it. I'm sure I can handle it a bit better now. My mind's developed. So I'll just buy some weed with Lara, and we could just smoke weed together. And I'll save money, but I won't feel like I'm missing out. So we did, didn't we? And we started smoking weed, and it just confirmed what I learnt 10 years ago, which was, 10 years prior, which was that I just cannot handle it. I've told you the story before about when I was on call, and at work, and the emergency was happening, and I just could not compute one thing that they told me. It was like they're talking another language. Actually, when I started smoking weed is when I got fired, like properly fired from a job for the first time, and it's definitely linked because my brain was just not with it. But I was like the definition of like that paranoid I was like Will from The In-Betweeners when he gets up and he's paranoid, and like instantly I regret smoking it. I just don't find it fun. When I was younger, just always wanted to be doing something not allowed, and I was like that my whole life. And so smoking weed was one of the first things that I could do that was really naughty. And I remember I used to smoke it, and then I used to get this like severe memory blank where I couldn't remember how I got to where I was. So I knew I was safe and I knew I was with my mates, but I couldn't remember the journey to there, or like 5 seconds before, or like 10 seconds before that. So I was a bit like Dory out of Finding Nemo, because I literally would be like, wait, what? How did I get here? Oh my god. Okay. So I did just walk through that door, and I did just walk up the stairs, and I did just sit down, and then I go, okay. Oh my god. How did I just get there? And I remember, no, I swear to God, like it was intense. It was really fucking bad.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I remember the girls that I was with would be like, no, you're all right. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm all right. Oh my God, like what? Like this went on, but it went on for ages, because also when I was stoned, like 15 minutes felt about 3 hours. And so it was actually like living in like a loop of terror where I couldn't remember anything. And I remember there was this boy that lived like not far from us, that we used to go and smoke weed in his bedroom. And honestly, he was like, even though I was so young, like 14, the image of him is why I could not bear the thought of my son smoking weed, because he was the definition of a stoner, and he had a massive spliff, right? His mum comes up with a plate of chocolate fingers, which is lovely. The mum was like the sweetest, lovely lady ever. She came into the hot boxed room, and instead of being like, thanks, mum, he notioned with his toe for her to put the plate of biscuits on the floor.
No.
And she did. And then she crept out backwards. And there's like 10 bodies in there and we're all so high. And I just remember thinking, that is disgusting behaviour. However, whilst I was thinking, this is disgusting behaviour and you never treat your mum like that and what a nice mum and I really want one of those chocolate biscuits, I was also thinking, doesn't matter because I'm about to die. And I literally lay on this boy's bed and I thought, goodbye world.
Oh my God.
Goodbye mum and dad. Goodbye everybody. They're going to wonder why I'm in this boy's bedroom, but I'm a virgin and I'm going to die a virgin. But here I am. Goodbye world. I'm just going to close my eyes and let it be because I've got to admit defeat here because I am dying. A goner.
Oh my God. I'm a goner. You've always been such a drama queen.
No, I swear to God, I made peace with the fact that I was about to die. I just wondered what my parents would have thought when they saw me in their bedroom. But I thought, the sweet mum downstairs, she was going to find the body, you know?
Do you know what I thought you were going to say? Even though you wanted one of those chocolate fingers, all you could think is how funny that he pointed to the fingers with his toes. I don't know why.
And then I was so stoned I nibbled on his toe.
Oh, back to toes. Is that what really happened in that dark room? Maybe you were so stoned you didn't realise that actually. It was all fingers and toes in there.
To be fair, I really fancied him and he didn't even bat an eyelid to me. He didn't even care if I died in his bed. Nobody was looking at me. I literally was going to slip away in my sleep. So anyway, that was the sort of thing that I dealt with. But the thing is, I didn't give up for a long time.
What the hell?
I persevered. I kept doing it. And it got worse and worse and worse.
Really?
And so I eventually, yeah. And so I eventually got to a point where I was like, yeah, this just ain't for me, really.
You know what?
Knocked it on the head and started again 10 years later with you. Didn't go very well then either.
You were better. You weren't paranoid when we were smoking together.
I was a bit.
Were you?
Yeah, I just kept it all internal this time. In fact, I kept it internal back then too.
Oh, but you really? Well, you didn't tell me. You could always tell me.
No, what I'd do is I wouldn't get paranoid of you. I would start like overthinking about my work. I mean, maybe I should have been overthinking about my work. I got fired, but like I would be like overthinking about like I'm skint. How am I going to pay my bills? Or I'm all sort of like those anxieties that you can get a bit in life would just come to me really intensely.
Okay,
and that's where I'd be. So yeah, not fun for me.
What I think is interesting though is how unique and different everyone's experience with every substance, right? But specifically weed is because, like, okay, you've got let's actually categorize them. I've never really like done this, but let's think about it. You've got like the people like you who are just prangheads, right? So can't smoke, prangheads, fucking paranoia, right?
Yeah. I always think like that drug does not mix with my type of brain.
Okay. So no for Jessie.
Absolutely.
No for Jessie. Okay. Then you've got the people like me who actually, when I say people like me, I think I'm in my own category because I actually don't think I've ever met anybody like me on weed.
There's no one like you, Lara. There's no one like you when it comes to smoking weed.
Like, for me, it actually, if I'm out, it can act like an upper. Yeah. I'm suddenly highly energized. Like you said on a previous episode recently, like, it's kind of like I'm drunk or I'm tipsy.
But you're like buzzing. Yeah. You are like buzzing.
Yeah. People are always like, wow, what you on? And I'm like, weed. And they're like, huh? What? Like eyes pinging from this joint. And then you've got the people that are like just stoners, and they just basically
they're like the stereotypical stoner.
But they're like mute. Yeah, quiet, subdued, in their own world, maybe playing like Xbox or just doing something that's like, I don't want to say brain dead, that sounds bad, but just very
chill.
Very chill. You've also got the people that are chill, but they're creatives. So they're like highly creative when they're stoned. And they're like, my ex used to be like this. He was an architect, right? Kind of useless if you needed like something to get done, I don't know, more like life admin stuff, like quickly. That isn't going to happen. But could he sit down and be creative for 6 hours and bosh out some like crazy project? Yes. And in fact, he needed it to do that. Yeah. He needed it. That was how he got into his flow and into that zone. For me, forget it. Like, that is never going to happen. Me, I could not work stoned.
No. And then you've got those people who will have a busy day, a busy life, and then we'll just come back and just chill and smoke a joint. Like,
Yeah.
I know people that will just see that as like, you know what, it's the weekend. Let's skin up and have a little joint, enjoy a film, and, you know, just feel a bit unsober, but without having a drink.
Yeah.
I wish I could be that person.
That's more me as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's you as well.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of those people don't have the high that you have with it. They just sort of like have a bit of a buzz where they feel comfortable, and it's like almost like having that first drink where if everyone could just stay that level of drunk from a first drink, it'd be lovely. And I think it sort of gives them that sort of like little warm, cozy cocoon.
Yes.
And they feel good, but they're not sober.
Yeah. Well, you've also got, I'm now thinking of all the all the different types, right? But there's also, what I notice is, for me personally, it makes me very talkative, which is why people think I'm on an upper, because I'm just like, brrr, like literally people can't get a word in, and I'm a talker anyway. But if I smoke, I just don't stop. But what I find interesting is that, I mean, it works quite well for me because it creates a lot of open space for me to talk, but a lot of people just go mute. I know I already mentioned that, but like more like in like a social scenario, not just at home, like internally, like on their own. Or a lot of people won't even smoke with other people because of that reason. They're like, I just become antisocial, right? For me, it's the opposite. I'm like, actually, I find it quite boring smoking on my own. Very rare where like occasionally I'll come home, put my projector on because I've got a sick, massive projector. Maybe I'll smoke a bit of weed. But for me, then I'm like, who am I going to talk to? And I start voice noting people and pacing around the apartment, probably sending like a 15-minute voice note.
So that explains the 15-minute voice notes that I get all the fucking time, Lara.
Yeah. And sometimes I have the odd like, I have those friends that I have like a life epiphany with when we're both stoned together and we're like, oh my God, this is the best idea, or we've figured out life, right? So I've got those connections. But yeah, for me, it's not a productive thing. It's actually more like a party thing. Ooh, and I want to add something to this. For me, it's the biggest gateway drug ever.
What, like Hollyoaks, where somebody smokes a joint down the back streets of Hollyoaks, and the next thing they're on the streets being a prostitute, selling themselves for heroin. That's how it's always shown in like the soaps and on TV, innit?
Yeah. They're on
One
drugs.
minute you're dabbling in a bit of weed, and the next minute you're a prostitute on the streets scoring heroin.
Totally. That's EastEnders, isn't it? Oh my God, that is so jokes. Yeah, but like not quite that extreme, no. But if I could be like completely sober and then someone would give me a couple tokes and a joint, and that night I haven't even thought about having a beer or, wanting anything else or going raving or anything like that. If I smoke a bit of weed, I'm like,
Really?
let's fucking go. Yeah. Then I'm like, actually, I might have a drink. And it makes me smoke cigarettes, honestly. Like, if I smoke a joint, and I don't normally want a cigarette, right? But if I smoke a joint, it is such a gateway to wanting like a ciggy. I just want to chain smoke after it. It's really weird. I've never met anyone who actually gets that either.
Well, let's put a call out. Anybody get like Lara? Anybody a stoner like Lara? We can find your future partner here, Lara. Anyone feel like they're a good match for Lara?
Well, yeah, I want to know. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, that is me when I smoke, about any of these categories, send us a message, because I want to do a poll on this and like let us know, like, or maybe what type of smoker are you, let's say, when it comes to weed. And if you're like have a whole other, maybe you've got your own category like me, send us a message, because I am curious to know.
So I personally think that it's a horrible thing. I think people in their adults that smoke it, I think massive red flag. What's going on? I get it sort of in your teenage years, but for me, it's just, I think a regular smoker for me is just not on. Like when I met Ash, he smoked it every day and I was like, I'm not putting up with that. I'm not having a weed smoker in my life, like not as a partner. I just feel like I've been with a stoner before and there's a lot of dreams that don't happen, and I feel like everything's very slow-mo.
Do you mean dreams as in your life of what you're desiring, or actual like dreams at night when you sleep?
Both really, but no, really dreams for the future that come up and get talked about but never happen. And I feel like,
because that's a thing with weed, that like people
you
don't dream.
Yeah. But I also just think that like life is in constant slow motion.
Yeah.
And you never get anything done. And I'm a go-getter, and I'm a bit of a lazy go-getter, to be fair, but I'm a go-getter and I have dreams and I make them happen. I just try and do it in the simplest way that I can. I feel like the stoners in my life have not been that, and so for me it was a big red flag, and it was a massive no-no when it comes to a partner. But what do you think? What do you think about people that smoke weed as a weed smoker yourself?
I think it's your relationship with it.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't crave it or need it. But occasionally, yes, of course, I'll have that thing where I'm like, oh my God, I really fancy a joint. But it's so few and far between, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm not needing it to sleep, which is another category. A lot of people need it to sleep, and I get that, but it's not any kind of substance or crutch, let's say, that you need to do something that is a simple, well, basic bodily function. I understand people suffer with insomnia, so there's layers to it, right? Like, I don't want to trivialize that. Like, I have had people that really struggle to sleep, and weed is really the only way that they can sleep. And I get it, right? Like, I'm not a fucking medical professional, and I've never dealt with insomnia, so I understand that there is a time and a place. Also, I want to say that someone I know that's close to my family has autoimmune diseases, and he actually has it prescribed and smokes it to be able to sleep, because he has such terrible insomnia that his body needs it. So I do think that's different. I want to say that. But if we're thinking about being a stoner, right?
Yeah, a recreational, not medicinal.
But getting up and waking and baking, or smoking during the day, or having multiple spliffs in the day, and that becoming your norm, because that's the thing that I think that's the thing that separates being a stoner and not being a stoner, is that your norm is being stoned, and life feels dull or life feels not normal when you're not stoned, then we have a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. So, like, Ashley told me that, like, when he was a real stoner, like, literally smoking all day, every day, he said that he thought the whole world was as well. Like, he didn't really understand that there was people not living like him in this smoke bubble.
Yeah.
And in his mind, everyone was just stoned all the time.
Yeah, it's a form of escape, actually. It's a form of escape and coping mechanism for life in a lot of ways for people, which I get. Life can be really fucking tough. But I think, for me personally, just thinking about, and to go a little bit deeper here for my own personal journey, I think a lot of people use it, and maybe I've done in the past, to avoid certain things. And it's like, you're just numbing. Weed numbs, you know? So you can avoid a lot of things by being stoned. Things that just seem to evaporate in a hot box, literally in a cloud of weed smoke, right? But you got to do the work. Coach Lara here.
Well, I mean, I've never been a stoner, but I have had some of the funniest things happen to me ever when I was stoned as well.
To be fair, yeah.
Like, you know, it has been some of the funniest moments of my life when I've been stoned as well, and there's things that I'll never forget.
Oh my God,
like the one time when my mum and dad went away, and my sister, myself and our two friends were at my mum's house, and we got really fucking high, and we looked out the window in the morning, and we were still high and we were still smoking, and there was a bloody massive dead fox, and we had to put it in a bin bag and move it out to we called the RSPCA. They were like, it's dead, what do you want us to do about it? So they said call the council.
Random, okay.
Called the council, and they were like, we can't come into your garden and get rid of it. So they were like, look, but what you got to do is put it into the pavement, and then we'll get rid of it. So whilst we were so fucking high, I had to hold the bin bag, and my sister had to pick up a huge dead rigor mortis fox and put it into the bin bag.
What's rigor mortis?
Are you joking? Rigor mortis?
What's that?
When your body goes hard when you die.
Oh, I've never heard that word. Rigor mortis, like rigid post-mortem, kind of, as I'm thinking. Is like...
Yeah. Like, your body goes really hard and rigor mortis sets in, and then it's, like, literally rigid.
Whoa.
So we had to put it in, but its nose was, like, pressed against the bottom of the bin bag, and, like, the shape of it you could see, and we had to carry it out. But because we were so high, it was the funniest thing we've ever done in our whole lives. It was so surreal. This big, massive dead fox was about the same size as me, and my sister and me were carrying it, like, carrying it down the side alley to put it out into the thing without getting caught. Oh my God, it was so funny.
That is grim.
But yeah, we've had some funny times with it as well.
Oh, of course. I mean, I laugh so much when I'm stoned, like, literally.
Yeah,
do you remember the first time you got stoned?
I remember one of the first times, and it was we had bought some and we went down to the brook and we smoked it. And what I couldn't believe was how smoking something changed my mindset so quickly.
Yeah, totally.
I couldn't believe that smoking something, I'd smoked cigarettes before. I couldn't believe that my mindset changed in the flash that it did, and that I no longer felt the sober mind that I did so quickly. Let's face it. Instantly. It was I'd been drunk before, but not many times. And I think maybe it was one of the first times it must have been one of the first times, if not the first time, that my mind had been altered. And so I was shocked at how that thing, but I just laughed and burnt holes in my tights from the hot rocks.
Yeah.
And burnt my lips doing blowbacks. And I thought it was the funniest thing that had ever happened to me. But can you remember yours?
Yeah. Do you remember traffic lights? The game Traffic Lights? Traffic
Lights, yeah. Blowback's the most revolting things you could ever do. I'm really funny about germs. The thought of someone's big breath in my face I don't think I liked it at the time. I don't know why I did it, but absolutely revolting. So, but yeah, mine was quite a typical sort of in-betweeners style. First time getting stoned. What was yours like?
So I remember I tried a cigarette and weed at the same time. I was 13, I think. And I was seeing this guy who was like 17. I always had a little older guy on the go at the time. And I went to my first sort of stoner house party thing in Wimbledon with all these older kids, and we were around a table, and I remember the guy whose birthday it was had the world's biggest joint. I don't know if it was I think it was a gift from his friends or something, and it was huge, huge.
Yeah.
The head of it was the size of your palm, absolutely massive.
That's what it was like in the one that the boy with the chocolate fingers. It was like a joke spliff.
Completely. It was ridiculous. And so it was on this plate, and you needed two whole hands to hold it, right? So passing it round, and I had one hit on it. And then I'm pretty sure I was stoned instantly. And I was so nervous. Everyone was like, yeah, don't worry, you're going to be good. And I did that. And then I was super baked. What happened was we were around this table, and a little bit later on, another joint came round, just a normal joint, right? And so for me, this was the first experience with a normal joint this time.
Were you after that bad boy I just had, I can take on anything?
I can take on anything, right? And so I picked up this joint and I put it in my mouth the wrong way round and stubbed it out on my teeth.
Oh, no.
And I stubbed it out of my teeth and my mouth got filled with ash and everyone was looking.
Oh, no.
And the reason everyone was looking is because we were playing Traffic Lights. And I don't know, I guess most people would know what Traffic Lights is, but just in case you don't, it's like some stoner game that you play, especially when you're a teenager, I guess. People don't do this as an adult.
Oh my God, it'd be so cringe if an adult was like, hey, you want a blowback?
Well, actually, no, blowbacks, no. Blowbacks are terrible. But the only time that I think not that long ago, did one round of Traffic Lights is when you have only one little bit of joint and you want to get everyone stoned. If you do that and everyone can only have one toke. So what you do is you breathe in the biggest, a big toke and hold it until it gets back round to you. So you go around the full circle and you've got to hold it for as long as possible because the longer you leave it in your lungs, the more high you supposedly get. I guess you're hotboxing your body in a weird way. So yeah, that works. But so anyway, everyone was watching me because you passed the joint around, right? And I put it in my mouth, back to front. Ash went everywhere, all in my mouth. Obviously, people laugh.
Lara.
People laughing at me. It was traumatizing as a 13-year-old. So yeah, that was my first time.
And then you never ever smoked weed again, eh?
No, it didn't put me off. No, but what's so funny is that shortly after, then I had... Oh, actually, I never thought about this connection. Shortly after I smoked my first cigarette, I wonder if from then the neural pathway, seeing as my brain was still developing as a 13-year-old, was created that after I smoke weed, I smoke a cigarette, because I smoked 1 or 2 tokes on a cigarette for the first time. Next morning I woke up I'm addicted, I need a cigarette. Because you always hear, you get the information that if you ever smoke a cigarette, you're going to be addicted, right? So I woke up oh my God, I need 10 Sovereign now. And that was the beginning of my real rebel days. Yeah. But I've always been like proper weakling with weed. Like I know I'm talking about like me as if I smoke a lot or like I don't
Yeah.
do it very often. Really it's just once or twice a
No.
month now, like very randomly, and it'll be a couple tokes. But I literally cannot smoke much. Like I am such a lightweight, and if I ever pick up, I will say literally, and I have done many times in my life, what's the weakest stuff you've got? Like, give me the weakest stuff you've got. And I remember going to Notting Hill Carnival, right? And there was this Rasta guy that was walking through the crowd saying, weed, weed, weed. And I was like, yes, I want to buy some weed. And he had like these handfuls of different types, and they had different coloured strings in, which show the different strains, so he knows what. They were like wound up in the buds, which is really cool. So you always know what strain you're having. So, you know, different strengths, different strains. And so I remember saying to him, hey mate, can I get like the weakest stuff you've got, bro? And he was like, sorry, what? And I was like, the weakest, and he was just like so confused, because I think it's probably the first time he's ever been asked for the shittest stuff he has. But yeah, and for me, usually I've got maybe like an emergency stash, right? But because I smoke so little, I have some stuff in my cupboard, this is embarrassing, that I've had for like 3 years, which is just there. And what is so good is that even though it tastes like shit, it's great because it doesn't get me that high. And so it's like quite weak. And so I can actually smoke it and not be like a complete moron. So yeah. One thing that I have noticed, and this happened to me very recently, which is why it's in my mind. So if I try and do something that normally would be quite a nice, I don't know, like maybe for example, like a spiritual experience. So, you know, I went to that like groove event, which was like when everyone was dancing around, and it was more of like, it wasn't a rave, but it was like everyone dancing around, but it's the idea of it is to like go on your own individual journey of expression, right? So if I was maybe sober, I could be more in the frame of mind of like, okay, this is like, you know, more of like a soul experience, right? But because I was stoned, I was really sensitive to how cringe some aspects of it were. And this has happened before when, for example, I've gone to like a cacao ceremony. Are you familiar with what a cacao ceremony would be?
No.
Okay. Which means maybe other people aren't. So because I'm a bit of a hippie and I do a lot of like spiritual stuff now, it's not a plant medicine like, you know, like mushrooms or anything, but it's from the cacao plant. It's what chocolate's made from. And it is considered a heart opener, right? You drink pure cacao, so not like a hot chocolate like your fucking Nesquik or anything like that. It's like pure cacao from the cacao plant, and it is through, you know, from our ancestors from many hundreds, probably thousands of years have used it as as a way to connect with yourself, your soul, and open your heart. And it works. You can get a natural high from it. It's cool, but people do it ceremoniously in the spiritual world, and come together and sing songs, and like there's special songs that are like for it. Cacaocito.
Oh, God.
I know, you'd hate it. So anyway, when I'm sober, I really like these things. I enjoy it. I sing along. It's very happy, clappy, hippy dippy. Like, it really, really is. But if I smoke weed, I cannot take it seriously at all, and suddenly I realize how fucking weird it is, and like how cringe some aspects of it, and I'm like, why are we all sat around singing Kumbaya? This is so fucking weird. But if I'm sober, I don't think it's weird. I think it's amazing and I enjoy it. It's really weird to see it through that lens. Like, I associate it with like fun, laughter, being silly, and so when you're in a situation like that, it's just a different vibe. And I'm like,
cancels it out.
yeah, it's like, this is actually really fucking odd. So that's one thing I've definitely noticed. But with me, obviously dancing, like I dance Brazilian Zouk, as you know, I've just done another 100 hours and trained to be a teacher. I get my diploma today.
Yay.
Woo! So that's amazing. But if I smoke and I dance, okay, I can't do spins. I'm really wobbly, which is big part of the dance is doing a lot of like spins, turns. But if I'm connecting like close to someone, we breathe together and like kind of like can melt into their body.
Oh,
I know you'd hate it.
God.
You'd hate it so much. But we like when you
Hate it,
connect
yeah.
with a person, you breathe together. You'll go, and you feel like you're both of your lungs opening in sync and then relax together. This is how you kind of connect at the beginning of the dance, and I love that.
Right.
If you're stoned, that feels so good.
Right.
It's kind of like
yeah.
it's kind of like when, and yeah, I think I can share this on the podcast. I don't know. Have you had sex stoned? And maybe you're not the best person to ask.
I can't remember, probably.
Yeah. See, like, for me, that's a very nice experience because it makes everything, for me, more sensitive. Like the skin, like on other, when you're high in other ways, your skin can feel kind of like more sensitive, especially like on mushrooms or something. It's like, ooh, you feel the sensations differently, the different like senses. For me, stoned, like, just gotta say it, weed makes me horny. Like, it makes me want to be like more touchy-feely anyway. But secondly, it feels much better. Everything's heightened. So even though the dance isn't sexual, it's like, ooh, this feels nice with the right people. Or it can feel really uncomfortable with the wrong person. So I've been...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's heightened, right? So if the energy's good and it feels good, it's like, yes, we're in that same vibe. But if like there's like a, I don't know, like a mismatch of energies and I'm high, I'm like, get me out of here. But in Zouk, you stay for at least 2 or 3 songs with someone. So that's been my experience.
Right.
Speaking of getting like horny on weed, I've actually just remembered something that I haven't thought about for ages. So do you remember?
Go on.
Do you remember that I like made a friend during the pandemic that I was hanging out with here, and we became like when the pandemic kind of started, we were like buddies, me and him, and he was just a friend. And I stayed with him for a few days, and we created one of those weird like pandemic bubbles, right, where we agreed not to connect with anyone outside. And I was like, this is like for about a week that I was paranoid, and then I was kind of chill. But basically, me and him created a little bubble. We got a bottle of wine and we got stoned, right? And as I got more tipsy and more high, I was kind of, when you've never looked at someone in that way before, and then suddenly you're like,
yeah,
could I?
Yeah.
Hang on, wait, would I?
Yeah. What happens to your mind at that point? But yeah, I've been there.
So like, I suddenly was like, hang on a second, maybe. And so I was thinking for like hours, how do I approach this, right? Because I feel like he could be a yes, but like it's quite like a weird transition now. And so I was like, I psyched myself up for about 2 hours to say this line that I thought in my mind. So he's talking to me and his mouth just may as well be moving on mute because I'm not listening to what he's saying. All I'm doing is thinking, how do I make this happen for myself, right? I'm not the sort of girl that's gonna pounce. It's just not my style. You are or were, but I'm not. You know what I'm like. I'm a scaredy cat with that. I don't pull the moves. So I think of this great line, right? You tell me what you think about this line. I think this is how I'm going to say it. I'm going to say, I love weed. It makes me, how does it make me feel? God, it makes me, the 3 H's. Happy, hungry, and horny. That's my line. That was my line.
Did it work?
Yeah, well, listen to this, right? So I then go to the toilet, I come back, and I kid you not, in the time that I've gone to the toilet and come out again, he has lit candles and he's lying on the bed sideways, like something in a rom-com, waiting for me. I'm not joking. That was the transition. That was all I needed to say.
And were you like, damn, get me in there?
I was just like, well, I guess it's happening then. I just couldn't believe how quickly...
It worked.
It worked. And it actually happened. And it was... How do you think it was?
Well, if you were high, it was amazing, man.
It was the worst. It was the worst. And he told me after that he couldn't stop thinking about his ex-girlfriend. So that's why it was so bad. Yeah, they just broken up. So, yeah.
So I think really what we can get from this episode today is that we can round it up by saying, if there is somebody out there who could connect with Lara by having the same type of buzz from the weed that she does, who is open to having sex on weed and gets horny with it, who loves a bit of a dance and a breath while stoned, then roll up, because I think this episode might be the one that puts it out there for us to find the love of your life, Lara.
Yeah, okay. I mean, why not? You know, like, put it out there in the field.
So guys, listen, thank you so much for always listening. Thanks for the new listeners. Thanks for everybody that reaches out to us. We love hearing from you as always. Please keep sharing with your friends. Please keep forwarding our little podcast on and on. We're growing and growing, and it's amazing to see. It means that you guys actually like listening to us, which is amazing, because we even just chat shit to each other. But thank you, Lara. Thanks everyone at home, and we'll see you next time.
Love ya. Bye.